Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and we're gonna do something that I've never done before. Here we got Smokeye Hill Barrel Proof, aged 5 years. This is a blue corn expression that they have, and this is ringing in at 134.2 proof. That is a heater for sure. Found this online, I believe. We'll find out here. $84.99. So we'll call that $85. And where did I find it? I bought this one. Kagan Bottle again. This was one of the ones that I bought online from Kagan Bottle. I saw a couple of reviews about this. They were raving about it, so I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna try and get in on it." And lo and behold, was able to find it $85. It's a little bit steep, like considering this Old Dominic that we just did was $65. And really, the foolproof Green River Wheated Bourbon was only $51. $85 is a pretty high bourbon. Again, so here we are, 2026. The bourbon market is starting to slow down pretty hard, if not grind to a halt. Several brands have been bought or have gone into foreclosure. A lot of things are happening in the bourbon world. There's a lot of barrels sitting around right now. So some places have gone under because they kind of got over their skis a little bit, so to speak, when they were buying barrels because the price of barrels went up during COVID because of the availability and the fact that you can only use oak barrels one time to make bourbon, and so there was kind of a barrel shortage for a little while, and it takes time to grow the trees and age the wood and all the different facets that are involved with that, and because of that, barrels were starting to go for a premium. And then several distilleries decided to put giant additions on, create new warehouses, increase distilling capacity. Some of the legacy places, Wild Turkey, Buffalo Trace, places like that. I mean, there's millions and millions and millions of barrels of bourbon right now that are just sitting and aging. So I think the future is looking bright from a consumer standpoint for bourbon because I think the demand is going to go down significantly, especially with some of the younger generations not drinking quite as much. So you got a huge influx of capacity that picked up during COVID. So the last 5 years here. So things were going into the barrel, and so now they're just sitting in rick houses. And so you look down that line, another 5 years, or 10 years, or 15 years, and I think you're going to start seeing limited releases, limited editions, things of that nature coming out at really reasonable price points because gone are the days that the average Joe is going to go out and chase I don't know, a Weller 107 and pay $150 for it. We are in some squeezed economic times. The war in Iran just kicked off last month. Here in Wyoming, the fuel price is hovering around $4, $4.10, something like that. At least here in town. And you know what? There aren't too many people that are going to be paying that amount of money for gas, along with a 20% um, increase for food and other staples, along with $100 bourbon prices. Like it just isn't going to happen. Like people are still going to drink, and people are still going to drink their bourbon or whatever, but they're going to be buying, I don't know, things like this Benchmark great bottle of whiskey, $18. Like I don't know actually why you'd not be buying that and drinking that anyways. Like why wouldn't you? Hey, there's there's a lot of whiskey that's good for cheap prices. So keep that in mind as you go forward. And I think that's going to tie into our future in the bourbon market. So I don't wish for prices to come down for the distilleries, although the legacy distilleries, they really don't have much to worry about. But for the consumer, $100 bottle probably should be ringing in that $50-$60 bottle range. So hopefully we'll see those prices come down. All that to say, let's get into this Smokeye Hill. Like I said, 134.2 proof. If you've been following along, this is bottle number 4, but this is bottle number 3. This will be 3 of the bourbon, and we've been jumping up in proof as we go. Now, that is noteworthy right there. I'm pretty sure you could throw this and take somebody out. This thing must weigh 10 ounces. That is a heavy, heavy cork, which is absolutely awesome. But yeah, you ever need a home defense weapon, just grab your bottle of Smokeye and take that cork and chuck it. Pretty awesome. Little fidgety things like that get me every time. I mean, it's like the key on my blade and bow. Like, I don't know. Fidgety things are cool. Okay. Wow. That is not what I was expecting. So, sticking my nose all the way in the glass, there was no ethanol whatsoever in that thing. And doing it again, still not there. I mean, that is not nosing like something 134 proof. Granted, I'm a couple whiskeys in, and they've all been pretty high proof, but if you were to just put this in front of me, 90 proof, easy. With that, I get confectioner sugar, circus peanut, a little bit of a light caramel drizzle. There's some graham cracker in there. There's not a floral component. And there's not a fruit component to that bourbon right now. And again, this is blue corn. I don't know if it's 100%. I don't know what the mash bill is on this. Mash of heirloom. No, it's not 100%. Here we go. It doesn't give us a percentage, but it says proprietary mash of heirloom blue corn, yellow corn, rye, and malted barley. So there you go. Man, it smells good though. It smells sweet, caramel, like buttery caramel. I'm trying to get something else out of it. I'm really trying to get a floral note. I mean, you could kind of say that there might be like a light honeysuckle kind of a floral component to it, but there's no fruit really to it at all. So let's get into it. Woo! Proof hits you. I took a sip. Bam! It went retro nasal on me. Okay. Kind of interesting. There was a lot of sweet notes up front as I was kind of working through that proofiness. Caramel. It had a drier mouthfeel to it. Do that proof. A lot of cinnamon, like a very sweet cinnamon in there. Oaky, like the cinnamon and the oak kind of lend itself to a bark. I mean, I know that cinnamon is a bark, but like in my head, it triggered like walking through the woods as a kid back in Wisconsin and like smelling a decaying tree and like going up. Like a perfect example would be an elm tree, like going up and knocking off all that loose bark and smelling that backside of that. Kind of had that to it, in a positive way, not in a negative way. All right, we're gonna have to go in again on that one. See if we can get some more notes out of it. The nose is not changing though. Just sweet on the nose. That ethanol is kind of hard to overcome. I get like a birch syrup, like you can have maple syrup. If you've ever had a birch syrup, there's a little bit of a sourness to it. I've made my own a couple times. We got a birch tree in the backyard. If you know, you know, I guess is how that one goes. If you don't, then that means nothing to you. Um, but that ethanol is really evident in pretty much every stage of the flavor profile. But there's a sweet, a graham cracker, an oakiness. I mean, you could taste the youth on it, the 5 year youth. I wouldn't say there's a green note, but it's like a cross between a sweet cinnamon and, because I've been doing some carpentry lately, like fresh cut pine boards. You bring those two together, and that woodiness is kind of there. Um, yeah, there's a bunch of what I would describe as young notes in there. There's not the green, the fresh cut hay, none of that's in there, but it's a youthy note. Excuse me, for sure. That's kind of showing up in that cinnamon, honey. I don't know if I'd go so far as like a molasses, but a darker sweet note. Ooh, got a really, really dark cherry on that up front. Maybe a molasses that time. And then some oak, a little bit of barrel char. It has a barrel char. Go back and watch my review of this brimstone from Balcones. This has a charcoal briquette type char to it. There's almost the slightest little itty bitty hint of that in there, which I like personally. So yeah, that char from the barrel is really coming through on that. I would say that is the dominating note of the back half of that flavor profile going into the finish. But it does have a sweet that blends with it, so it's not acrid, it's not bitter. It's a good, well balanced note of sweet and oak char, which I'm digging. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. This is going to be a love it or hate it kind of profile. So I don't know if that's something that's worth $85 to the average consumer. If you drink bourbon because you want a nice, sweet, savory bourbon, this is probably not the one for you. There's a lot of sweet notes in it, but they also come with that high proof, which is the high proof is bringing that oak tannin and that char forward on the finish. To me, it's a pleasant finish, but a lot of people probably aren't going to like that, to be honest. And because of that, a lot of people aren't going to want to pay $85 for it. So there you go. Me, on the other hand, it's worth it just for the home defense cork. Thing is heavy. It's awesome though. Yeah, a lot of sweet up front, char in the back. A lot of proof all the way through. Well balanced. It's not spiky at all. I'm digging it. That's one of the ones that you might want to explore with a little bit of water, see what happens. Hopefully, it doesn't break apart those notes, which is what tends to happen when you water stuff down. That char note might get increased a fair bit, and if that happens, then this would probably go south. All right, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're going to do just a smidge of this, and we're going to put just a drop of water in with it, just because I'm curious, and it's my show, so I can do what I want. But we are going to try, got a little bit of water here. We are going to try just a couple of drops just to see if that ends up going the wrong way here. On the nose, the ethanol came more forward, but a really dense vanilla note came out of it now, which might prove to be pretty good because I was expecting that char to come forward more. So we'll see what it does on the palate here. I did 3 drops in however much that is. Not much. But starting at 134, that might have dropped it down. I mean, I don't have a proof gauge that's super accurate to be able to look at that, but I would say that probably dropped it down to, I had to guess, 115 maybe. But it's very sweet in the nose now. It did open that up quite a bit. It did not bring any of those acrid notes to the front on the nose anyways. Let's see what it did on the palate. I don't know if it shattered it or not. It was very sweet forward. The first couple of notes was caramel, a very delicious, savory caramel, very enjoyable. There was a spike of ethanol right in the middle, and then it flattened out just a smidge before it went into the oak, but it didn't bring that char forward. So, it's actually, I think it's actually better with those couple of drops of water in it. I think it brought forward maybe one or two more notes, even though I didn't accurately describe them. I think it brought those forward, and there was definitely more substance to that flavor profile after adding the water. So if you do have this, give that a try. Definitely one worth experimenting for. But if you're not into high proof stuff, or experimenting, you might want to skip this bottle. But I have nothing bad to say about it. It's good bourbon, but not for everybody. Yeah, it's better with a drop or two of water. So there you have it, Smokeye Hill, the barrel proof 5-year blue corn, 134.2 proof. Paid $85 at Keg and Barrel back in January. Drop in the comments down below what you can find it for in your area, if you can find it, what your experience is with it, and any other comments you have. Stay tuned. We're going to do our last review of independent, or not independent, but single bottles here with this Ardnaho, and we'll get into that, and then I don't know, I'm starting to feel it. The high proof is kicking in. But if I have it in me, we will do the 107 versus the Buffalo Bill. So stay tuned. We'll see what we come up with. You guys have yourselves a great day. We'll catch you in the next video.